your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
I didn't realize this until yesterday when I was listening to the game. The Astros and the Twins game yesterday was the home opener for Minnesota.
Okay.
And so I was listening to the fellas, and they were talking, and I thought, well, this is really, really cool. And so I made a note of it in my brain. There were two guys there yesterday that were celebrating their 50th opening day together at Minnesota Twins games. They started going to opening day in 1975, and yesterday was their 50th consecutive of going to opening day. And so they were talking about, well, that's three different stadiums, with the different places that Minnesota played, because they played at the Metropolitan Stadium, where the big mall is now. They played at the Metrodome, where the Vikings and the Final Four was a few years ago. And now they play at the outdoor stadium there in Minnesota. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, 50 in a row. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the guys on the broadcast said, and they're quite proud of it, which I think they should be. Which I guess translation, they probably made sure that everybody knew that. Which again, hey, if you're going to go to 50 home games and opening days in a row, it's cause for celebration.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I have no idea how old these gentlemen are now, but I mean, just think about it. If they were 20, they're 70. If they were 16, they're in their mid 60s. My guess is they're probably in their mid to late 70s, just kind of based on how they were doing. And by the way,
who knows what the personality of those two guys were, and
right,
if they were throwing it in everybody's face or introducing themselves that way, but
right,
kind of sounds like there was something funky about
yeah,
that.
right, because it got
the Astros guys said it that way.
Yeah, they said that they were quite proud of it, right? The Astros did win yesterday 5-2 over the Minnesota Twins. So there you go, and we had that game for you yesterday on 100.7 The Score. We'll have the Rangers and the Rays tonight on Double T 97.3. That's after Texas Tech baseball. And the Rangers at home this weekend against Tampa Bay. Well, that Tampa Bay situation is really kind of a mess, isn't it, in terms of their stadium?
No doubt. It's crazy. It's, not beneficial to them at all.
Yeah, obviously they had the hurricane that came through and, tore up their roof and who knows what the stadium, who knows what's going to happen. There's been so many different, thoughts on that in terms of it's not worth rebuilding. They were going to build a new stadium there, and now they're unsure if they're going to do that because of just funding and things like that. So it's unfortunate for them because they really don't, they're playing at the Yankees.
And they have no support to begin with there. Well, I say no, hardly any.
Mm-hmm. Limited, right?
Yeah.
It's an elderly community. That doesn't mean that everybody's old that lives in Florida, but those folks probably enjoyed the air conditioning. Probably like, man, I don't really want to go to the Rays game tonight. It's going to be too damn hot.
Yeah, it's strange.
Muggy and all those kinds of things. Somebody says this, Tampa Bay should just move back to Montreal. There is that thought.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, there is that thought.
Especially if they go back to those cool hats.
Okay. Bullfighter wants to know if I'm secretly an Astro fan. No. There were times when I really liked the Astros. I liked the Astros of the 80s when they were winning the division, and they were kind of the hard luck Astros because they couldn't get past the Phillies. The cheating Astros, not so much, but I haven't really been like angry at the Astros. So I don't, but I'm not. This group of Astros, I'm not so much of. Let's see. this is a basketball question. No, I don't believe he is. Is Grant McCaslin in the transfer portal with no extension from Kirby? He got one last year. Grant is the best coach on this campus. It's not even close. Joey gets extensions for being less than mediocre. Well, I mean, I think saying he's the best coach on this campus and it's not even close. You got a guy over there that's won 2 national championships.
Wes Kitley's taking off his rings and saying, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I get a text that the Metrodome Final Four wasn't at the Metrodome. Right. I know that. It's the site where the Metrodome was. It's now U.S. Bank Stadium. It's where the Twins never played there. Twins played at the Metrodome, and the Final Four was at the stadium where the Vikings play. So, if I was confusing on that, I apologize for my circling around that, not landing the plane correctly. But at any rate, that's the deal. But the guys on the Astro broadcast just making the point that they'd been to opening days at 3 different stadiums there in Minneapolis. It was confusing to me that they decided not to go to a dome stadium there in Minneapolis, given the weather that they have there in the early part of the year and the late part of the year.
Definitely surprising.
Especially when a lot of times you're building these things because you need more than 81 events, or in the case of football, 8 events. Although I think that at some point in time you're going to see an 18-game season, so you're going to have 9 plus the preseason. But man, you just got to be able to utilize those facilities as much as you can. I mean, look at our place here. I mean, you basically, since the year 2000, I think this is a pretty conservative number. Since the year 2000, since Spikes last year in '99, you've probably spent $500 million on that stadium. Easy. Because you just spent $270 on the south end zone. And that doesn't count what you spent on the east and the west side, let alone the north side. So it's awful hard to build something for just a handful of events. Now I realize they have a lot of events in the East Club and the West Club and stuff like that, but you can't really have concerts there. The place, maybe a limited number of high school games there, but even then it's becoming more and more expensive to rent that out and keep that thing, all the toilets flushing. So
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is Friday, April the 4th, 2025, although it feels like February. Here's Jeff McGuire.
1948, 84-year-old Connie Mack challenges 78-year-old Clark Griffith to a race from home to first base. It ended up in a tie.
A tie.
1974, Hank Aaron ties Babe Ruth's home run record by hitting number 714 in Cincinnati against Jake Billingham.
Jack Billingham.
Jack Billingham. I said Jake. Definitely Jack. J-A-C-K is definitely Jack.
And then they sat him down for the rest of that series. I believe it was opening day in Cincinnati. And they sat him down for the rest of that series because they wanted him to hit that home run 715 in Atlanta.
Surely he was okay with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think what he was more worried about were all the death threats against him, which were numerous.
1986, Wayne Gretzky sets an NHL record with 213 points in a season.
That guy was pretty good.
He was pretty good. Yes.
Speaking of pretty good, 1993, Cheryl Swoops scores 47 points, leading the Texas Tech Lady Raiders to their first women's NCAA title with an 84-82 win over Ohio State.
Not pretty good. Amazingly good.
That was a really good day and evening.
It was a great day to be a Red Raider.
There's no question.
1994, 56th NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Arkansas beats Duke 76-72. Razorbacks' first title in their first title game. It is National Cordon Bleu Day.
Oh, man. No, I'm out.
I mean, it's chicken, ham, and cheese.
I know. I think it's disgusting.
And then breaded, and then pan fried.
I know. No, it's just, just when it comes out there, it just smells. Are you you in or out on the cordon bleu?
I'm okay with it. It's not something I would ever choose. But
Yeah.
I mean, if it was put in front of me, I'd eat it.
Yeah.
There are worse rubber chicken dinners.
I'm just telling you, if that comes out on the plate, then I'm stopping by and getting something to eat on the way home.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time or if I've ever seen it as a rubber chicken dinner. That seems like that's too involved for
right.
one of those
one of those things
luncheons or whatever.
Happy birthday, former Red Raider Jared Hicks is 40 today.
Oh man, one of my favorites.
Robert Downey Jr. is 60, Jamie Lynn Spears 34, David Blaine 52, Craig T. Nelson is 81, and Martin Perez is 34.
Martin Perez is 34. Wow. Oh, is he done pitching?
Well, he's pitching for the White Sox, so yes.
Okay.
Except that he's part of the four-man rotation that started the season without giving up a run. So, yeah.
Earned run.
Earned run.
I was going to say, wow, they must be off to a great start. Are they off to a good start, Jeff?
They have no offense, Chuck. They were 2-2 after
I feel
four
like
games.
I feel like that you're happier when they're
only because you didn't see me in 2005.
Were you happy in 2005?
I was ecstatic.
Ecstatic.
In 2005.
Okay, when they won the World Series.
Yes. I've shared that story before.
Yeah.
There's no reason to share it now, but that it was the highlight of the decade for me, having the White Sox win the World Series and being that good all season long.
Wow.
Highlight of the decade.
Well, it was a pretty bad decade. 1968 in history, not a good day.
Is this MLK?
Yes. Martin Luther King Jr. fatally shot while standing on the balcony outside of his second-story room in Memphis, Tennessee. Civil rights leader was in Memphis to support a sanitation worker strike and was on his way to dinner when a bullet struck him in the jaw, severing his spinal cord. King was pronounced dead after his arrival at the Memphis hospital. He was 39 years old. And this day in sports history.
This day in sports history. The Lorraine Hotel where that happened, there in Memphis. It's right near downtown Memphis. I don't think it's considered downtown, but it's just a little bit on the outside of downtown. And every time I've seen like video or pictures of that event, I always think of the hotel being so high off the ground. It was the second level of the hotel, but when we went to the bowl game, we went to the Lorraine Hotel. We did not go through just didn't have time to go through the museum that they have there in Memphis. But you could see the Lorraine Hotel, and you could see exactly where Martin Luther King was standing when he was murdered. And it's not very high off the ground. And the shot came from a building across the parking lot that James Earl Ray fired, although there's some people that dispute that.
Of course there's.
And there's, the King family believes he was a scapegoat, but there's mountains of conspiracy theories around him, along with both JFK and, to a degree, RFK. But anyway, the thing that struck me was just it's not very high off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that was kind of an amazing thing for when we went there and just kind of looked at it. I went, oh wow! And then there's a fantastic barbecue restaurant just not mere yards away from that.
But you had time for that, right?
We had time for that. Yeah, we had time for that.
Hang on, you're telling me that there's a good barbecue place in Memphis?
Sure. I'm not one of those
I love that you wanted to go. It was kind of like there's this really good book. I really didn't have time to read it, but I flipped through the pictures. The pictures look good. That was kind of the story you just told us about the Lorraine Hotel.
You're right. Yeah.
Could have gone to the museum and all that, but I just really didn't have time. We were on a time crunch. I had to get to the barbecue choice.
We were kind of on a time crunch. I mean, the Civil Rights Museum, though, it looks really good. It looks like a really good place. But
as good as the barbecue.
The barbecue was good. It wasn't just like it didn't just like bowl me over like I've got to fly back to Memphis to go to that particular barbecue place. We went to 2 different barbecue places there. And again, I'm not one of these, well, it's always got to be this or it's always got to be that, or Memphis barbecue stinks, or no. I mean, I'm a fan of good barbecue. And sometimes it's different in every city. I think this goes without saying. Somebody says this on the chat line with regard to this day in sports history in 1993. Greatest day ever for Texas Tech and Texas Tech women's basketball.
Well, definitely for women's basketball.
Definitely for women's basketball. I don't know that you can say greatest day ever for Texas Tech. I mean, I'm sure it's subjective. There's some people that would say, well, this is a better day. Maybe something academically or something, happened from, winning a big. I don't know if there's a bigger football game that you could win than that. But there's been some very big football games. That 08 football game would be bigger, maybe in some people's mind than.
Well, I think if you won the national championship game in football, it's bigger than winning the national championship in women's basketball.
No question. But I mean, in terms of what you have to date, this is the road I was going down. It was a great day. Absolutely a great day. And people rushed to Memorial Circle that day, and that was awesome. They
burn any Lime scooters?
There weren't any. I mean,
couldn't have been that big then.
I'll just tell you this: at about 10 o'clock that night, 10:15, I was accused of stealing electricity from one of the buildings at Texas Tech by one of the on-campus security people. And I said, well, I have permission to use this. It's a 110 plug-in. We had run an extension cord to the outside of a building to power the rolling stereo studio. And I said, you should be more worried about those students over there going to the Food King than me. And so then he left me alone after that. But other than that, it was a great evening. And I did not care.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, and Chuck Heinz. Chuck Heinz. I don't forget who I am sometimes. I just
you chuckled when you said your own name.
Well, I thought I'd given the wrong name for Jeff, but I didn't. That's why I thought I'd called him something else, but I didn't. We'll have baseball on the air for you today. Texas Tech and Cincinnati. That'll be at 1:30. We will also have Lubbock Cooper softball today at 4 o'clock. They take on Plainview. That'll be on 100.7 The Score. And then Friendship Tiger baseball. They take on Odessa High today in Lubbock, and this will be a doubleheader. It'll be at 4:30 on Sunny 97.7. Liberty baseball today. They take on Estacado. That'll be at 5:30 on Young Country 93.1. And then later on today, it's the Rangers and the Rays from Arlington. That's a 6:30 broadcast today. And about 7:10 or so first pitch.
It was nice of Tech to move the game up so we could get the Rangers game out.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
very appreciative of that.
Now just, make quick order of it today.
Okay.
Don't dilly-dally. Don't go up there and...
Don't want to do that.
There probably won't be any... Do you find that the colder weather games or the weather-challenged games that the players have a little bit quicker step, or no?
No.
It doesn't really matter?
No.
Okay.
No.
There's no extra hustle or anything like that. They're not running up to the plate or anything along those lines.
I find that during the cold weather games that it affects the players way less than we think it does. It surely affects all of us as fans, right? And you're sitting there. But the players, they just kind of get used to it or whatever.
Okay.
And they're out there moving around, or they're in the dugout where there's a little bit of a heater and they've got their jackets on and all that good stuff. So I think it affects them less than we think.
Okay. All right. Here is Coach Tim Tadlock. He was asked about, in today's game particularly and this weekend, that do you handle the game differently with the possibility of only getting one in this weekend?
I have not one time thought we wouldn't get in 3 games. So you might be getting a different weather forecast than I would think. That in Lubbock, Texas, there's a 4-hour window to play a baseball game every day, nearly. And so I hadn't really thought of it that way. Is the game important? I would think each game is definitely important. Watched the Braves game last night, Braves and Dodgers. again, like you're listening to those guys make more out of the game than it really is. At the time, I think everybody that's involved in baseball, you go to the ballpark and you try to win the game that day. That's right in front of you, and you try to win innings, and we're going to continue to do that.
I thought that was really good. You might be getting a different forecast than I'm getting. There's a 4-hour window every day that you can play a baseball game in Lubbock, Texas. That's really good. That's really good stuff there. Did you enjoy that as much as I did?
Which part? You or him?
No, I enjoyed Coach Tadlock very much there.
Yeah, I mean, again, these coaches just they preach mental toughness, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever is coming your way is coming your way. You got to be ready to handle adversity, and you got to be able to change course. Everything that we all know that we have to deal with in life. So they don't sit around and whine about the weather. They don't sit around and, oh man, guys, we got to get out there and play, but it's gonna be cold today. Make sure you put your long underwear. I mean, they don't. Okay, hey, we got to play a game, and if it's 115 or if it's 45, we're gonna play the game. We're gonna expect you to have good at bats. We're gonna expect you to go out there and execute pitches. We're gonna expect you to play catch, and make routine plays. And so the weather it is what it is. We know it's part of life.
Yeah.
So just like
deal with a little adversity.
Life is not always a perfect little situation. Mm-hmm. So I don't think the coaching staff sits around lamenting the weather. They just focus on, hey, whatever happens, we have to do our job.
Fretting the weather.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Fretting the weather. I'm really curious about this because Coach Tadlock, part of his, it's part coaching, it's part being a psychologist, it's part, trying to motivate and then help with technique and all those kinds of things. He was asked what he tells pitchers like a Zach Crotchfeld who appear to be in a funk but are having a good outing. Here's Coach Tadlock.
Again, each individual's a little different, and you got to evaluate what's going on. I think you can evaluate different pieces. You can evaluate their preparation. You can evaluate them in the weight room. You can evaluate them stretching. You can evaluate them, are they managing the game? You can evaluate, are they landing a secondary pitch? You can evaluate, are they repeating their delivery? There has to be a process of how you evaluate each guy, and there is. And again, I touched on 2 or 3 things. Can you repeat your delivery? Can you manage the game? Can you manage the pitch clock? Can you land a secondary pitch? Can you manage a running game? Can you go through the lineup more than once? You're constantly trying to develop all those things. And then obviously, sometimes the pitch to pitch would be called the mental game in this sport, right? And sometimes all of us get in our own way sometimes. And so there's a little bit of all of it, but it's probably no different in y'all's business. You look at something, you go, hey, are we doing this good? And you have ways to look at different pieces of your business, how it's operating. And so with a pitcher, it's not just one thing. I mean, it might just be one of the 5 or 6 things that you're looking at. And, as far as he goes, we were excited that he wanted to pitch Tuesday because he did pitch Friday and Sunday. And so that was a positive development.
I love what he said there. I'm going to take one piece of that clip there and just kind of mentally frame it. We all get in our own way every once in a while.
I think it's accurate. It's funny because I don't think he answered the question at all. What do you say to Zach Crotchfeld when he's struggling or whatever? And but he talked about the things that are key for pitchers to be good and the key for pitchers to deal with adversity, all that kind of stuff. But he didn't necessarily answer the question. But it was, an entertaining question. But no, everybody, I think, again, just like real life, we all get in our own way, whether it's poor decisions that we make that cost us or whether it's us questioning ourselves so we don't do something that we should do because we're not. Coach Tadlock likes
confident in ourselves, right?
Yeah, Coach Tadlock likes to use the word convicted. You got to be convicted in what you're doing. You got to be all in on it. If it's a 2-0 pitch, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, man, I'm going to get a fastball here, and I'm going all in on putting this thing over the left field wall, right? But if it's 2-0 pitch and you get the fastball down the middle, and you're like, not really sure, so I just go with a kind of timid defensive swing. I mean, all you're doing is grounding out to second base, right?
Yeah.
You got to be all in on what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. No, I like I said, I mean, I think we do. We all get in our own way from time to time. That makes it hard to be successful when you get in your.
And then you and I get in each other's way, and so that's fun too.
Somebody says yes. Yeah, I don't think baseball coaches check the weather. They sent players outside when it's 100 degrees and all black.
Yeah, that matchup with Louisville and both of them wanting to wear black was quite entertaining. Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, gentlemen, we're talking Red Raider football today, and nice. I want you to take a look at the Red Raider football schedule. You really don't have to. I'll read you what you need to know.
Okay.
But I, in particular, think that this schedule on the road is a difficult one for the Red Raiders. I want you to rank the 5 in order of difficulty, 1 being the most difficult,
okay,
5 being the easiest. Okay, and you have road trips to Utah, September 20th, Houston, October 4th, October 18th, you're at Arizona State. November the 1st, you will play in Manhattan. And the final game of the season, November the 29th of the regular season, you will play at West Virginia. So at West Virginia, at Kansas State, at Arizona State, at Houston and Utah. Rank those 1 through 5. 1 being the most difficult.
Okay. I
said that twice for those in the back.
No,
okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay.
I appreciate that. I got it. On the surface of this, there's no layups. The layup might be Houston, but I think they're better. But I'm going to say Houston is number 5 for me. I think Arizona State is number 4 for me. I'm just not sure what all they have coming back, but it's going to be difficult playing out there. I feel like Utah is going to be much better than they were a year ago, just because they're so used to having a good football program. But I don't think that they're going to be ahead of. I think they're going to be ahead of West Virginia. But going out, I mean, you got to go east. You're going to go west. Who's going to have the better year? Rich Rod in his first year back, or Utah bouncing back? So, I think West Virginia is 3. Because of that, I don't think they'll be as good this year as Utah. Utah's 2, and then for me, until you win in Manhattan, it's going to be the toughest place to play in the Big 12. And K-State is number 1 for me. So it's going to be Houston, Arizona State, West Virginia, Utah, and K-State for me.
Okay.
Number 5, the University of Houston. When they start playing football, I'll start caring. Number 4, West Virginia.
What will you start caring about?
If they're going to be on the ranking more than 5 for the toughest road game. They have to start actually pretending to play football. They're not even pretending yet. Number 4, West Virginia. New coach. It's going to be the end of the year. All the hype will be burned out, and there's a reason that he wasn't there anymore. There's a reason he was available, and I don't think they have any talent on that team as we currently sit. So we'll see how that rolls for them. Number 3 is Utah. Number 2, Arizona State. Number 1, much like Chuck. Until you beat them, that's a loss in my book. Just lock it in. But big, bold letters with Kansas State as number 1.
So, sarcasm, cynicism, and negativity right there.
Jeffersism. Yes. All right, I'm taking Arizona State as number 1. I'm taking Kansas State as number 2, and I think there's a good gap between 2 and 3.
I would also agree with that.
Yeah. Number 3 for me, man, I think it's going to be Utah. I just expect them to bounce back. Number 4, West Virginia. And number 5 is Jeff's Cougars.
Okay. But I think you're right. I think it's a.
I still think Arizona State is. I do not think they're going to be the team that they were last year, but I do think they're going to be good. They bring back a really good quarterback and a lot of weapons. So I feel like I get that they lost their dude, Scadaboo, but I don't know. Feels like a program that's going to be good. So I expect them to be good. Kansas State has just been pretty mediocre the last few years as far as I'm concerned. I mean, still one of the better teams in the Big 12 Conference, but they've underperformed. And so it's been less about Kansas State and more about you not performing against them.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think they're both tough. I think you could lose both of them. I'm not suggesting that you're going to blow out either one of them. I think you could lose both of those games. But I think you got a good shot in both also.
And who was your number one again?
Arizona State.
Arizona State. Okay. So here I am downplaying Arizona State, which it's just my gut feel, but I have to.
I'm with you in feeling like they won't be as good as they were last year.
I feel like that they're going to be that next year they'll be the TCU of the Big 12.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like they captured some lightning in the bottle and all that kind of stuff, and I mean they made their way into the college football playoff, and they were playing for the right to play for a national championship to a degree, and lost that New Year's Day game. So there you go. 7:37 this morning here on the morning drive.
Now, if I were to flip this question, if I were to ask you the team of those five, which has the best chance to be a blowout in your favor, it wouldn't be straight reversed for me. West Virginia would be the best chance for a blowout, as opposed to Houston, because Houston's going to be pumped for that game, and it's earlier in the season. West Virginia will already know their fate at that point, and it's the kind of playing things out, as the case may be, and seeing how things go forward. That drastically changes things. I don't know what Utah's going to do. I could see Utah going either way with regards to the possible blowout for rankings positions. You know what I mean? Like, I could see you getting blown out by Utah if you get up there and forget how to play football like you did with BYU.
This from the chat line. K-State 1, Utah 2, Arizona State 3, West Virginia 4, and Houston 5.
Yeah, so this person obviously thinks ASU will take a sizable step back.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of what I thought as well. Yeah. I mean, that was my numbers.
Yeah, and I think we all feel like Utah will take a step forward.
Mm-hmm.
Be hard for them to be worse.
Yeah, then be bad. 2 years in a row.
Hate to see it.
Do you think that guy can? What would be termed a success in Houston, Jeff? Is it?
Man, they get to 6-6 in any way, it'd be a success.
Yeah,
they've just been bad, and they've got a fan base that doesn't really care because Houston's the 8th team in Houston.
This from the chat line, more about respect for Utah's atmosphere. Okay.
And a veteran coach who, can just more times than not has put together really good teams. They just had one really terrible year last year.
Yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
3 of 3 today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and DoubleT973.com. Don't forget, an hour from now, it is the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score. We'll have also the bottom line a little bit today, and then baseball for you all afternoon, whether it's on 100.7 The Score or Double T 97.3, plus Lubbock Cooper softball, as well as they take on Plainview at 4 o'clock today. And then more baseball tonight with the Rangers and the Rays here on Double T 97.3. With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. It is great to have you with us. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. It's very comfortable today. I thought turtleneck weather was over, Jamie. I thought I had worn my last turtleneck of the year. But today I went comfortable. It's just so comfortable when you wear a turtleneck. And I know not everybody's. They look at turtleneck as grandpa for some, but I still think it's a good look for me.
All
Okay,
right.
so I'm doing me today.
You do you. That's right.
I'm doing me
It's
today.
all about you feel good about yourself.
That's right. So look good, feel good, all those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Did y'all say Milton is third string? Did I miss them signing another backup? No, he's the backup to Dak Prescott. Trey Lance and Cooper Rush went elsewhere. Actually, Trey Lance hasn't signed with anybody. He's still out there. He's still available.
I think I read where Greer was the only one that's left on the roster, right?
Yeah.
Besides Dak, of course.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I think Milton slides right into the number 2 backup.
yeah, I agree with that. Somebody says this: if Joe Milton becomes a serviceable quarterback, he'll be the opposite of Jamarcus Russell, who was very good in college but bad pro. Both have incredible arms, but Milton was average at best in college, lost his job at Michigan, would have been benched at Tennessee if he had more eligibility. A fifth-round pick would have been better spent on Taj Brooks or Jalen Conyers than this guy. I don't think Taj Brooks is going to go that high. Conyers might go that high.
I keep seeing Taj in mock drafts to the Chiefs, Chuck.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well,
That's cool.
What round do you see that? Late. Yeah.
Yeah, like 6 or 7.
And I guess it would be. I don't think that's a Mahomes factor. I think that's more of a Chiefs need a fit factor. Don't you? Or do you think that's
I would
Patrick?
assume so, yeah.
Patrick saying, "Hey, we've got this guy down in Lubbock, you know."
I'm sure some would like to give him credit for it, but I would guess that's just the Chiefs scouting department.
Yeah,
going,
I think so too.
Yeah, this guy fits what we want.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey. Somebody says Lance went to Canada, I believe. I hadn't seen that. I just had seen that he was still unsigned.
To go play football or just like on vacation? Go for some hikes or what?
Go for some hikes. Do you have any hikes in your future?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have them scheduled, but I definitely have them in my future.
You don't have them scheduled yet. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. What's next for Trey Lance? CFL's Rough Riders reportedly have added him to their negotiation list. Okay. So.
Negotiation list.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that has to do with NIL.
It gives them the exclusive rights to negotiate a prospective contract with him, provided he is interested. Yeah. Their CFL teams apparently permitted to name up to 45 players to their negotiating list, and each of those players eligible to negotiate a contract as long as they aren't under contract with another team or league. In Lance's case, he's a free agent, could be signed immediately if he so desired. One reaction to the Ja Morant. This is a long text, but you took the time to craft this carefully, so I'm gonna read it. Ja Morant makes almost $40 million a year on his current contract. And basically, if you haven't seen this, he made another gun gesture last night after being told earlier this week, "Don't do this again." So fines will be nothing unless you suspend him a year without pay. Clowns like him will pay a $2,000 to $500 fine, knowing they will probably make it up with his thug followers. The only reason a person gets
social
warned...
media. SM means social media.
Social media, thank you. I wasn't sure about that. The only reason a person gets warned one day and does it again the next is if he's making money elsewhere to offset the upcoming fines. This is simple, or should be. Tell him if he does it again, he will be suspended 41 games and any playoff games that fall in that time frame. If he loses 20+ million, maybe that will get his attention. And his teammates, coaches, front office are going to be done with him. Right now, Memphis is pretty solid in the playoffs, it seems. A suspension for the rest of the season and playoffs may be enough to get his attention, even when they go out early with him not playing. Hard to disagree with that.
Yeah, again, it needs to be. You need to find a way to make it hurt for him. Mm-hmm. I don't know, any other way than to be a long suspension. Because again, if maybe $20 million does it, I don't know. I mean, if he's made a bunch, maybe he's got enough money that $20 million doesn't bother him. I have no idea. I have no clue
what his bank account looks like.
I don't know. Again, not following the rules like, hey, we want you to keep your shirt tucked in when you play is not a big deal. But trying to make light of the fact of the whole gun use, and as we all know that there's so many people in our country that are gunned down innocently. And I'm not here to argue whether people should have guns or not. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. But it just feels like he's making light of that by doing what he is doing. And it's just, in my opinion, the NBA should not put up with that.
Mm-hmm.
Do something about it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dumb take of the day there with the turtleneck defense. I'm not defending it. I'm not defending it at all. I mean, if you don't want to wear one, that's fine, man. There's probably plenty of things in your closet that you got that I wouldn't wear. Dumb take of the day brought to you by the organization of Big Puffy Baseball Bases. Okay. I'm sure you got some stupid shirt in your closet that I'm not going to wear either. So that's okay. That's all right. You do you, man.
What are things that Jeff and I wear that you're like, I could never wear that? A baseball cap. Jeff and I wear baseball caps.
Yeah, I'm a visor guy.
When was the last time you had a baseball cap, like a full hat on?
Oh, man.
Not half a hat, a full hat.
I mean, like a full hat? It's been a while. I mean, it's been a while.
I'll bet I could go through half of my closet and Chuck wouldn't wear it.
I'd probably...
We take away the double T polos. Mm-hmm. I'll bet I could put half of my closet together, and Chuck wouldn't wear them.
Okay. Well, you have jeans. He doesn't wear jeans.
Doesn't wear jeans.
I don't wear jeans,
Yeah, I don't wear jeans either.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've had a pair of jeans on.
I feel like that doesn't speak highly of us, Chuck.
Probably
We're
not.
just different people.
It feels like people who wear jeans, they're down to earth, good souls. They're hardworking, not afraid to get dirty. And you and I don't wear jeans. We're none of those things. We're not good souls. We're not down to earth. We're not hardworking.
This from Sooner in Lubbock. No turtleneck hate here, Chuck. You do you. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Y'all do y'all. Yeah. And I'm disputing the fact that Trey Lance went to the CFL yet. He is not signed yet. He's eligible to be signed.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.